Elias had always felt disconnected, not in the dramatic, brooding way of a misunderstood artist, but in a subtler, almost clinical sense. Since childhood, he had known that the vibrant, pulsating azure that shimmered around his own hands was a private spectacle, a secret symphony of light that only he could perceive. He knew, too, that everyone else saw their own unique shade, a personal aura invisible to all but the self. This was the fundamental truth of their world, a reality ingrained from birth. Each soul possessed its own private hue, a color unique to them, seen only by them. He remembered kindergarten, the confused arguments over the color of the building blocks. "Mine is brilliant crimson," a girl would shout, holding up a red block. Elias, seeing a dull terracotta around her small fingers, would internally note the discrepancy. He'd learned quickly not to argue. Society had adapted. They spoke of people by their actions, their words, their personalities, never by an objective visual trait that remained subjective for everyone. It created an intense, almost spiritual sense of individuality, but also, paradoxically, a profound isolation. You could never truly know how another person saw themselves, their very essence, because their personal color remained forever their own. Elias, a meticulous archivist by profession, found solace in cataloging the objective. He spent his days surrounded by ancient texts and dusty documents, recording historical events, unburdened by the subjective kaleidoscope of personal vision. His own azure, he'd observed, tended to deepen and intensify when he was focused, almost glowing with a quiet purpose. When stressed or anxious, it would ripple with faint, grayish undertones. He had mastered ignoring it, treating it like a persistent, yet ultimately irrelevant, hum in the background of his perception. One crisp autumn morning, a new piece arrived at the archive, a peculiar, hand-bound journal from the late 19th century. Its cover was a plain, faded brown, but what drew Elias's attention was its inscription, scrawled in an elegant, looping script, "The color of truth." He felt a faint, uncharacteristic tremor in his own azure. This was unusual. His personal color rarely reacted to inanimate objects. Intrigued, he began to translate the archaic German text. The journal belonged to a man named Dr. Alaric Finch, a recluse philosopher and amateur alchemist. Finch's early entries detailed the familiar, pervasive truth of personal colors. He wrote of the loneliness of never truly seeing another. But then, the entries shifted, growing increasingly frantic. Finch claimed he was developing a method, a complex series of meditations and alchemical concoctions, to perceive the colors of others. Elias scoffed. Impossible. This was the one universal constant. Yet, as he delved deeper, a strange unease settled over him. Finch wrote not of seeing everyone's color, but of glimpsing flashes, distortions, anomalous patterns. He described the pain, the sensory overload of trying to process alien hues. He claimed these glimpses were accompanied by profound emotional resonance, and almost unbearable empathy. Finch wrote that seeing another's true color was like seeing their soul laid bare, their hidden fears and desires manifest as raw light. Then came the chilling twist. Finch's later entries spoke of how his own color, once a vibrant emerald, began to change. It became duller, muddier, until he could barely perceive it himself. He theorized that by attempting to perceive the internal, he was, in essence, destroying his own unique perception, diluting his inner self in the process of trying to grasp the essence of others. His final entry was a desperate plea: do not seek what is not meant for your eyes. The truth is not a gift, but a burden. It rips away your own hue, leaving you colorless, and the colorless, they are the most dangerous. The journal abruptly ended. Elias closed the book, his hands trembling. His azure, for the first time in his life, was flickering erratically, almost violently. The words colorless echoed in his mind. What did Finch mean? A person without their unique color? Such a thing was unheard of. It defied the very fabric of their reality. He spent weeks obsessing over the journal, cross-referencing Finch's obscure references to ancient alchemical texts. He found no evidence of anyone else attempting such a feat. It was pure madness. Yet, the unease persisted. He started observing people differently, not just their actions, but their absence of something. He dismissed Finch's claims as the ramblings of a deluded mind, but the journal's intensity, the sheer conviction of the philosopher's final warning, had seeped into his subconscious. One evening, leaving the archive late, Elias found himself on a deserted street. A figure emerged from the shadows, walking slowly towards him. It was a man, impeccably dressed, with a calm, almost serene expression. As the man drew closer, Elias felt a cold dread creep up his spine. He couldn't articulate why, but there was something profoundly wrong about him. As they passed each other, a flicker of something in Elias's peripheral vision made him freeze. His own azure, which had been agitated since reading Finch's journal, now recoiled violently, almost shrinking. He looked back at the man, who continued walking, unperturbed, and then he saw it, or rather, he didn't see it. Around the man's hands, around his entire being, there was nothing, no shimmer, no faint glow, no ripple of personal color, just the dull, objective light of the street lamps reflecting off his skin. Elias gasped, a choked sound escaping his lips. Finch's final, chilling warning crashed into his mind: the colorless, they are the most dangerous. The man suddenly stopped. Slowly, deliberately, he turned. His eyes, devoid of any discernible personal color, met Elias's. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips. It was a smile of profound understanding, of absolute knowledge. He raised a hand, and for a fleeting, terrifying moment, Elias saw not his own azure, but a brief, blinding flash of 1,000 disparate colors, all coalescing and then vanishing, leaving only a void. In that instant, Elias understood. The colorless were not merely those who had lost their own unique perception, they were those who had gained the ability to see all colors, to perceive the raw essence of every soul, but at the cost of their own individuality. They were the ultimate manipulators, understanding others with an unbearable clarity, yet utterly detached from their own humanity. And Elias, having unknowingly perceived Finch's terrifying truth, had just been seen, truly seen, by one of them. The price of their vision was the absence of their own, leaving them empty vessels, terrifyingly powerful, moving unseen among those who still glowed with their private, vulnerable hues. Elias felt his own azure, his secret self, begin to dim, a grayish tremor beginning at its edges. The man turned, continuing his walk into the night, leaving Elias with a chilling, new understanding of isolation and the profound danger of true sight.